We have ace queen, limp UTG, raised by a solid reg. So first mistake he's doing, it's not that solid. Call, fold. So what's the sizing we are doing here? I will let you think about it. It's really important when you start reviewing ends to think deeply about what you will do. So when you arrive in the spots, you actually know better what you should do. It sounds super simple, but a lot of people are not even doing this. So it's really important that you think by yourself when you see that before waiting for the answer. So first thing here, people don't squeeze big enough. It's a mistake I see 90% of the time. People don't do size that are big enough. Here, the minimum, and this is the absolute minimum, is 320. Like you can't do less than this. And the reason is because, and that's not even the best size for me. The thing is, with ace queen, yes, you get some value by getting called by worst. But the thing is, when you do squeeze super big, something happen is, and the thing which is happening is most people are actually not going to play well against size. And they're not only going to fold more, but they're going to re-raise way less. When you raise 380, who's putting 800 with ace jack? Nobody does. And they actually should sometimes. And the reason is because you're not going to do this, you have a way better equity realization. And it means that when you squeeze super big sizings are actually really good. And also you start to fold more. And with all the amount in the middle, you can just raise super big. So if I have any king 10 of spade, for example, I will actually raise, but I will not raise 240 or 260 like also people do. I will raise, I think with this hands, 380. Should be the best sizing here. You can also do 420. And I know it sounds super big, but actually in this strategy, these solid regs need to jump king jack spade. So king jack suited. I don't know why I say spade specifically, but nobody is going to do this ever. I never saw this in my entire life. And that's why the squeezing strategy is, really good, actually. Okay, so the call is obviously not the best option here. All is way too strong to call. And we're in a situation where low jack, hijack, and cutoff are capped. And even if they are not capped, they will still have a lot of weaker hands. So even if, I don't know, hijack has ace king, for example, he will have a lot of weaker hands anyway. So it's not really a factor to take into consideration when you want to call or free bet. So with ace queen here, I will always raise, and I think I will do 380 here is the minimum, probably a bit bigger. So yeah, call is a big mistake, and you should squeeze super wide in the spots because solid reg is going to ease a lot. 4x is not that strong. I mean, can have aces, but in general, when they have 10s and jacks, is a bit bigger. And again, even if it's not true, he raised 380, what he's doing with 9s, even 10s. So yeah, so way better to raise with 10. Okay, solid reg calls. We calls. We call. The ball is ace 3-5. And actually, even if it sounds quite surprising to you, ace is a fold. It's full directly on the flop. The reason is because his range is condensed extremely evenly toward ace king. And yes, you can have ace jack, of course, but you don't have to think this way. Because the problem is if he has ace king only, or ace king plus only, you're going to lose massive in this spot. Because you're going to call flop, maybe call a turn. You have bad reverse implied, odds. And so you lose massive. And when he has ace jack, he always have ace king in his range. He always has ace king. So the problem is when he has his jack, he's also going to have ace king. So you're not going to make that much money anyway. And there are way more people having only ace king plus in this spot. So ace queen is already a mark here on the flop, actually. I will not consider bluff raising this. It'd be interesting actually to start bluff raising ace queen, because you block hands like ace 5, you block aces. But I think it's actually better to fold. If you are a wizard and you have the plan to call this hand, knowing you are behind to bluff the river or check raise the turn, well, it might be something. It's never going to be bad. You make fold chops and you make fold ace king. But I mean, it's quite advanced And I'm not sure if he's really, I'm not even sure what he's doing. Because if you raise here, a lot of people fold ace king. If they fold ace king on the flop, on the turns, they're never folding. And then the turn bet is bad. And some people also call the flop, the turn, fold the river. So you don't have enough certainty into this line for me to take this as a raise. So I'll just consider folding ace king here. Okay, we calls. Turns to 7. And now it's mandatory fold. Like, we are bottom range. It's not really an argument, actually. But like, he just has better. Like, he literally always have better. And even if he doesn't have better, like, let's say he can bluff like jack 10 of clubs. I think it's never going to happen, but let's say he has jack 10 of clubs. Well, he'll always have his value hands, so I'm not even winning money. I mean, he has only values. I'm losing 500. So that's absolutely mandatory fold here. And as you see, and that's why I really like talking about live hands game. I mean, live games. It's because the edge you can have is way more massive than online. Like, you can have like really quick edge, because if you learn that actually you need to squeeze super big size, for example, you learn the reason why, then you squeeze big and you don't lose this end post flop. I mean, I don't want to be rigid-oriented. And also you need to know how to fold. I think it's the most important thing in live games is solid preflop and fold. Like, basically the two things. Hey, imagine. So I will consider, just follow the flop here. And the problem also is, people starting to like spaz on the flop, so we'll mostly spaz turn and reverse. And I know I'm always folding the turn and he bets, so I can't even win money against bluffers because I don't know who or there, so I can't specifically take the call decision against the guy who's bluffing. This spot. Okay. And he showed the river and fold. I mean, we could already fold the flop. He probably had aces or something. Aces or ace 5. Okay. Let's go for the second hand. Ace king. So we play. Guess we play. Oh, we 3-5. I wonder where you play 3-5. Yolan is 2-5. Too small again. Here, the size people do are always way too small. The reason is because it's easier to learn that need to do 5x, or people tend to play the same size as online. But the problem is, in live games, sometimes you just play 4-way 3-bet pots, which is never happening online. And if you put in the solver like 3 calling range toward this size and less calling towards the bigger size, we will always take the bigger size. And yeah, of course, if you call 3 times in the long run, you will win money. But you have more clairvoyance and you realize equity better when you raise bigger here. So the minimum sizing again is 180. Also, the main difference with online, if you do 180, a lot of people are going to call close to the same range compared to if you do 125. So for me, it's actually way better to take the bigger sizing here. So 180 is the minimum here. You can even do 200, 220. But as you see here, the sizing you should do are always bigger than you think. And I think here the minimum is 180. I will probably go more for 220. Yep. Okay. 1K call. And especially as deep and especially out of position. Okay. That's interesting. Well, it's quite unpopular, but I think check is better. Especially in this configuration. If you play 100 deep, I think I'm always betting. But the thing is, as deep on these boards, a lot of runouts that will be super tough to play for us, like a 6, for example, a club. So it's not really a ball where we have 3 streets of value often. And there's a high chance he's even folding a king if we bet. So because we can't 3-barrel, I think my hand plays better as a check. Because, can I do... I don't have zoom because I want to do sketch on the. Okay, let me do something quick. I'll put zoom. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I'm gonna share the screen. Okay, so Here, if you bet, okay, so let's say you bet the flop, you can't bet here. It's not possible. So, or if it doesn't come from the fact that we can put free sheet of values. So we need to check at least on the turn or on the river, on the flop. And the reason why I like to check on the flop, because we can let him bluff on the flop, okay? So bluff flop by the opponent. You represent less strong hands, okay? And the first thing is it's easier to take money to pocket sixes, pocket fours, eights, and nines, because when you play as check small, or like check small, or check call donk, okay, you take always more money to these hands. And I think the best line is playing as a check, small and small, because on the turn when you bet small, he's going to call the weaker region, okay, raise the strong region. So when he arrives on the river, when you take this check check bet, here he will call the weaker region only, so call the weaker range. And so on the river, he will actually call weaker bets often, and he will raise, sometimes bluff. And he has no value most of the time, so we have easy call. So I think the best line is check, small. And on the river, you either check call or you bet small, depends on the run out. And I think when you don't have free streets and you need to check once, the best. Well, it's absolutely, my sketch is terrible. I'll do better next time. Yep. So that's the best line on this like dynamic boards, deep in bet boards. Okay. Let's see. I guess Euro bet small. Okay. That's too big. The problem when you bet that big is you get called by hands that will bet from himself. Like if you bet too big, he will call only like flushes and king, and he's betting this from himself. So you don't need to bet. So there, just check is better, or you can also decide to bet super small. I think. Like both options should be fine. But when I bet small, it's a bit like super small. And I think check is better because you can let his air region to put money in the pot. Whereas like if you bet, he's folding this. Okay. Okay, so on the turns, big mistake. If I see this, I can deduct a lot of things about hero. So if I need Neo in this hand, I will know that hero doesn't understand well equities and equity relation and range advantage, and you can exploit that by just exploiting the checking region, because there is a higher chance he's absolutely not checking enough. And here the reason why you can't bet big in this spot is because actually his range is too strong. If he has flushes here, you need to slow down, because the problem is if he has flushes and he has a king, yes, you can get called by king, but often what's going to happen is he's only going to defend the flush. He doesn't need to defend something else. And he's only going to defend flushes. So he's going to fold the king. And you don't want that, especially when having such a low equity, because when you bet 500s, it's terrible to get called by sevens or five. And also, when you bet 500 and he has king jack, for example, he calls river to club, you check, and you can bluff, and you need to fold. So, yeah, I don't really like the bet is really, really bad. So you need to check or bet small. I think betting small is not good. So I will just check. And yeah, now we can't do anything. He has too many ace of clubs and not enough, pocket 8, pocket 9 with a club. So yeah, we'll just check here. No, you're just going to get called. Yeah, he's gonna fold sometimes. But I'm really sure he's folding queen jack of club in a live game environment, just because he had a flush on the turn, and it's not the same doing a flush on the turn compared to doing a flush on the river, for most of people. So yeah, it's gonna be this type of hand super often. Okay, if he's calling this on the flops, then it's way better to bet, but it's not something you can know if you don't have any information. And the thing is, if he's calling ace 9, Again, the sizing preflop, if we use Bayesian inference analysis, knowing that he's calling ace-9, poly size, probably calling way to lose the bigger size also. So I would just consider raising bigger. And why this is so important? Because when you raise 180 and you get called, the pot is already like 400 instead of 300. So like the difference is massive. Because if you do 1/4 of the pot, the pot will be 480 or something. And if I do 1/4, the pot is 600. So like there's already 20 blinds difference on the turn. The difference will increase on the river also. So yeah. Okay. Don't hesitate if you have any questions about this end. If you want me to speak slower also. It's been a while I didn't speak in English, so I need to take my time and just force myself to speak slowly and just speak with a better accent. But I have no excuse for the accent because I had some English lessons, especially for accents, and I stopped them, so it's really bad. Okay. So 3-5, Australia 10. Call or jack. Okay, that's a really good size. A lot of mistakes people are doing is like the ISO size, the squeeze size, the free bet size are way too small. And this is a good ISO size because you force the opponent to put money in the pot. And that's great. If he wants to call, he needs to put money in the pot. And the thing is, when he's calling loose, he's calling close to the same range as if you do 40, and you get called less when you use this size, and you are always going to take more money when you play heads up compared to multi-way. Except if you play against whales, but like most people, if you are 4-way and triple bet on the king high balls, shuffling king all the time. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The board is king 10-6. I'm going to check with his king here. There's nothing else to do. Always a call on the flop. And always a fold on the turn. Yeah, nothing special. I think they display perfectly. And I really like the sizing pre-flop. Like this is the type of sizing you should do. Like 7x is the minimum. You can even go for 8 or 9 here. Because against people who are calling way too much pre-flop, you win way more money by doing this size. Like if I do 90 and he's calling, the pot is already 180. If I do 40 and he calls, the pot is 80. I mean, this is absolutely massive in terms of how much value you can get. So in live games, learn how to fold, learn how to value, and just solid pre-flop. It's like the 3 important things. Also a lot of more important things, but for the moment we'll focus on this free stuff. Okay. Okay, so the thing is we play against whale here and we are in position with super strong hands. So it's this type of situations where you can actually don't size here. Just because if you do this sizing of like 280, 250, 220 and you get called more, you are actually happy. So I advise you to, do this sizing is fine, 240, 250, 260 is even also okay. I'll not do lower, that much, and I will not do too big either. Okay. Okay, he jumped on the flop. Yeah, I showed this in already. Always a call. 10-8. Yeah, it's going to happen. But it's happening, so because it's happening, we can play poker and win. So we really just need to accept the bad beats sometimes. Okay, ace queen, raise preflop. You actually need to limp here. I know it's quite unintuitive, especially if you come from online games, but limping is way better than raising here. And the reason is because most people are going to like call a lot. So if you get 4 calls and you have ace queen, like what you're going to do. Whereas if you play your hand as a limp, you can add limp raise into your range and you can have way more full equity. And the thing is, when nothing happens, the EV between the raise and the call is like really close. And when someone has a hand, like limping is way better. If the table is aggressive, it's way better. So yeah, you need to have limps, UTG and UTG1. Actually, this one is like type of hand you can actually raise, like it's fine. But I'll consider limping my close to mountain range, UTG and UTG1. Obviously, it depends on the table. The table is quite passive. I'm always going to open my strong hands. Or otherwise, I'm just playing a pure limp here. For like this free position. Low jack, I start to have a mix, and hijack, I open all the time. But if you want to start with limping strategy, I advise you to only limp these two positions. Okay. And also, like in theory, when you play 9 deeds, it's not that bad to limp, especially if you put like smaller free bet frequency, which will happen in live games. People don't free bet enough. You see that you can start, and if they don't ISO enough, you see you can start adding some limp here. The range is like, it doesn't really matter like which combos you raise, which combo you call, like the EV is close anyway. Like I have limping ranges with specific combos, but just limp everything. It depends more on the table. Like if the table is super passive and not limping, the stronger region. And if the table is aggressive, I'm limping everything. I will always limp, but if the table is aggressive, I'm limping everything because I don't want to get free bet with the weaker region, and with the strong region, I want to get raised. And if the table is aggressive, then I can just no. If the table is aggressive, I'm doing what I said. And if the table is passive, I want to put money in the pot with nuts with the stronger region, and with the weaker region, I want to see a pot for as cheap as possible. Okay. Call to calls. Check. Okay. I think check is bad. What I advise you to do, it's quite exploitative actually. You never ever bluff the flop in multi-way pots. Like it's completely useless. The only exception is if you have a super strong draws against calling station guys, you can start betting it. Okay. Or against tight guys. But in average, bluffing on a flop is not good. And you always prefer to delay on the turn. And the reason is because when you delay on the turn, most people are playing too passively. And they're going to bet a stronger region way too much on the turn. Okay. Bet small. No, he bet bigs actually. Okay, he bets big. I'm thinking about it. Always a race. I'm thinking about the size. I mean, I will do 280. And you know why I say 280? Because as you see, I'm thinking a lot about it. And in game, I don't have 3 minutes of reflection. So when I'm in a situation where I don't know what to do, I will always tend to play the most conservative option, which is super important concept to understand for live games. So when you don't know what to do, you need to always take what you think is the safest move, because in average, it's going to make you more money playing this way. I can demonstrate it mathematically, but not now. I'll do it later in another video. Whereas in average, you win more by like not having too much EV difference compared to having potentially more gains and more losses. Like in these situations, what wins the most is you take a conservative sizing that will never cost you that much in terms of EV if it's not the best option. Okay, so always a raise here. Okay. I mean, it's a call. Like we block the Queen X. So he's going to have pocket 4, pocket 8 on full houses. And full houses can definitely play with the pot size. So that's always a call. I'm thinking about bluff raising, but I don't think it's a good idea. Like, a good advice I can give you is never try to make fold full houses in live games. Like, never, ever, never. Just don't try to make fold strong hands in live games. And in general, like, if the ball is dry, I never try to make fold trips plus. So like, I don't make the mistakes of like bluffing a spot where like people are always call. And yes, sometimes there are good spots to bluff, but if you recognize it as a human, you can't be perfect and you will do mistakes in how you analyze spots. Then you understand it's way better to avoid spots where, yes, it can be profitable, but in average, you will just not win enough, deciding if it's a call or fold. And because there are way more decisions when it's good to not bluff, it's way better not to bluff. Okay. And he looks great. And of course, I will tell it a bit more at the end of the video. I'm preparing live monitoring for live poker players. So I can't say like exactly what's going to be, but it's going to be like by far the best thing you can find for live games. So I think I'm developing since months, so super happy. I don't know exactly how it will be released because I still work on that. I hope soon, a few weeks. And you have the link in the description if you want to improve your game. Just fulfill the selection type form. I can't take everybody at first, obviously. I mean, it's a business, so the goal is to help maximum amount of people and also maximizing the profit. But for the beginning, I just want not to take too many people. I don't know how much exactly, but not so many. Anyway, let's get back to the stream. I will talk about it a bit more at the end of the video. King, queen here. Okay, raise, call. That's a good size. I think it's slightly too small again. I will consider doing 7 or 8x minimum. So, I think the best size is around 180. I can demonstrate it to you, if you want with a pre-flop solver. Like, if he doesn't 4-bet enough, like how great is it to squeeze the bigger size? But yeah, like 180 is the minimum here. Okay. Too cold. I think I'll bet super small. The reason is because I want them to freely realize the equity. And if you bet super small, what's going to happen is if you bet, he calls, he jump, then we jump and makes him fold. Whereas if it goes check, as you realize the equity. So I think it's better to do 65. And also the whales pocket 9s, you only do 65, you can call. So I think it's better to do around 15% pot here. It's too big, fortunately. And you need to put an amount where this guy can raise. Okay. And on the turn, you just need to deny and value. So you can just bet like 200. You don't need to bet bigger. He should raise the stronger region on the flop often, I think. So I'm not worried too much about the weaker region, but just be super careful here because he can just be already quite strong. Also, something you can do that is not that bad is if you actually check, because if you bet, he just has a better and super often. So if you bet like start to bet big, I'm folding directly, because there's no bluff. And if you start betting super small, you can check out. So it's either you bet 250 or you check here. No, it's not good. If you have ace queen, I don't mind. But he can definitely fold the queen here. Like queen should be a fold. And he has too many queen 10, ace queen here. So that's not good. Okay. And we don't have the action after. Okay. King queen off clap. Okay, that's a big mistake again. This sizing is useless because you're just going to get called 2 or 3 times super often. So you just want to, like, if he's a rag, I'll just call because I don't think you gain that much money free betting in position against UTG1 in 8 max. If I play against low jack or hijack, I think I will always free bet this hand. depending on like if big blind small blind or whales or not. But against UGG1, I think just play better as a call with weaker player behind. Okay, call and call. Okay, check. I like the size. I think you should always bet this type of hands multi-way, especially when UTG1 check. In live games, most people, they never have aces, ace king here. Oh, it's a straddle. Okay, nice. Okay, great. Then the sizing is still not good. You should always do 3 or 3.5. Like typical sizing in straddle games is going to be 3x around. And here, when you raise bigger, you win the pot more often. Like simple as that. And also like you have a strong hand, just put more money in the pot. Like nobody will understand what you're doing. It really simple as that. But like if I have like a weaker hand, I open small, and if I have a stronger hand, I open big. Of course, these are live players I'm playing all the time. I'm not doing this. But if you're new to the table, it takes too much time to understand what you're doing. So you can go like really like this deep into the exploit part. Okay. Call. Check. Bets. Call. Raise. Okay, now we are behind. When you bet such polar on this flop, when you bet on this flop and you get raised, you're just behind. There are not enough players bluffing with complete air here. And most of the time, you just have a king and just wanted to check raise. So of course, when he's checking, you need to bet all the time. But now when he's raising, we can just start folding. It's not a bad call because there are going to be some players that never have value hands here. Because if you start always betting on the flop, ace is ace king, well, he's just raising bluffs. So it's a spot where, in terms of how much EV you can gain, you can actually gain a lot if he's always bluffing. But the thing is, people who bluffs on the flop, they're going to often bet on the turn and bluff you after. Do I want to face a bet on the turn? No, because I'm going to fold. So if I know I'm going to fold, but even if some people are bluffing, then I'm not winning any money by calling on the flop. Because the people I'm not winning money on the turn, so those bluffs are exactly this profile. So I can never win, actually. I can only win if bluffers check the turn, but it doesn't happen enough, unfortunately. So I'll just fold king queen. What's great is we can bluff spade run out if he checks twice to us. And the way I will play this, and that's why it's not a bad call, actually. Because sometimes we're ahead. This is never going to play his value in this way, especially if small lines are wreck. And what's going to happen sometimes is you call. So he bets, he raises, you call. This guy folds. Turn is a spade. And spade. And after you have two ways to play this, it's either you play check, and facing check, you push. Okay. You bluff. Or if you face check, you play 10%. Really important to bet super small here, because when you bet 25%, they're going to call a bit more than nuts. And if you bet way too small, they're going to always raise the nuts. I spewed one hand in live games, was NL like 10K in Asia. In the spots where like I bet 1/4 on turn, where I should have bet way smaller because he would have raised the stronger region. And if he raises the stronger region and only calls the weaker regions, then I isolate him with this range, as then I can just bluff him a lot. So yeah, it's like check 10%. If you raise, you fold. If he calls, you just jam the river. And like he has way less flushes in this line because flushes are here. I need to find something to do sketch. If you know like one application, I'll be glad, because this is it's only one color, and just trying to find excuses to justify why I'm drawing so badly. Anyway, okay. So either bets, turn bets. Excuse me. Yeah, it's a good fold on the turn. You can already fold on the flop, I think. Okay. And these folds are super important. Like, if you can fold this type of spots all the time, mama, you win way more money. You can just double your win rate. Like, just calculate. Let's say you do like 10 blind per hour, for example. You do 50 per hour. You save 150. It's not the exact amount you're losing when you close, of course, but let's say you save this. You save 30 blinds. So if a spot arrive like this every 6 hours, you take 50% more to your win rate. And you clearly have a spots you can fold every 6 hours. So going to be these spots exactly. But if I take the ace queen we had before, look at how much blind we lost, how much blind we could have win. So if in these type of spots we start folding directly, you win way more, actually. And if you have only 5 blinds per 100, you just double your win rate. So obviously you need to know how to fold, which is something we see in the monitoring, like we see some concepts around it. But it's one of the most important things. As I say, this is folding, pre-flop, value betting, and obviously nobody talks about it, but table selecting is super important. Okay, fold. You don't need to defend against 5x here. The sizing is way too big. I will show you on wizards quickly what you can defend against this size, and you will see that you can actually fold super often. Because he's putting so much amount into the pot that you don't need to defend as much. Okay, where is live games? Huh. Where is it? 8 max? I don't really understand exactly what's going on right now because it was not like this before. Did they remove it or something? It's super weird. I don't find live games. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, but what are the big open size they had before? So weird. Okay, whatever. So follow pre-flop. Call on the flop. You can raise. If you want to raise, you need to raise bigger. But just because of his sizing on the flop, in general, when people open bigger, it's a stronger region, stronger range. So it's either like a stronger range or like his entire range. So if you superpose the ranges and you play with range calls, you see that you face more the stronger region because it's either strong or like strong and weaker region. So strong is more like often here. Of course, it depends on the probability of each eventualities, but most of the time it's just a strong. So I'm calling on the flop. Why not? It's not that bad, but I think you don't need that, especially when there are so many draws in your first region. Like I'm not bluffing in a sense because people just call. Like on the river, you will call all the time, and the regions you will make full is actually a region you beat. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I understand the call now. It's not that bad. Yeah. Oh, okay. I really don't mind calling. I mean, I think queens plus and two pair plus on the flop always size bigger or always raise on the flop on the turn. So I think he always have king queen 9, 9 8, 9 10, 9 8. So yeah, now we play this way. It's always a call actually. You're gonna win way too much, and he's probably not jamming sin enough here. He's probably not jamming jack 9, even queen jack, even king jack. So yeah, 6 should be a call here. You clearly win more on 1/3 of the time. It's 9 max? Okay, before I think it was 8 max. But they don't have the size. What are the size? Before they are like 3, 6, 6 and stuff. No, it's not in 9 max. I don't understand. I will ask. I'll ask. Okay. I'll answer the questions after. Okay. Well, it depends. If BTG2 opens his sizing all the time and it's his standard sizing, then I'm okay with call and raise. If it's not his standard size, I don't really like it because 5x is stronger in general. So let's say it's his standard size. I'm okay to call, but raise is way better again, and I will do 80 minimum here. And without any informations, I'm probably folding here because 5x is too strong and we play against 2 calling regions, so I'm not calling King Jack. Okay, and the squeeze size is too small, actually. Okay, yeah, why not? I strongly prefer the check here, and delay will be often way better on a6 board when you don't have anything, because most people on the stab, they always stab the a6 region compared to how they should play in theory, which means that the exploit against that is always checking the weaker region, because you can just check and delay on the turn. And so I don't trust enough people to fold an ace here, so yeah. Bet small, okay, turn bet is fine, he calls. Yeah, I mean, turn bet is fine, but I think check is way better. Yeah. It's better to check, because when he goes check, jam, he will fold. And when he bets, you know he has an ace, so you can just play check call, and if a club is coming, you jam, or you bet at least. And if a blank is coming, just check call. So checking is better again here. And also you really don't want to get jam on, so yeah. And now it's not enough. Not enough bluffs here. So I'm always folding. No, that's not a good call. We won, but that's not a good call. Like, he's gonna have way too many H-Jack, Ace-Queen, H-9, pocket 5s, pocket 9s, you didn't jump on the turn. Like, I don't see against which hands we are winning, actually. Maybe 6-7 of clubs, 7-8 of club, Queen 10 of club. But what happened if he's just broking them on the flop? Then against which hands we are winning? No end. So when I'm not sure and I have a weak end in a bluff catcher spots, I will just think more about what I think is the best solution in average in spots, and the best solution in average will always be fold. So in average, third fold. So yeah, I'll just play more conservative here. And there are a lot of spots where the conservative option is calling, but not in this spot. Okay. I think I will stream tomorrow again. I'm a bit too tired, to be honest. So I can't stream more. It's already close to midnight. Yep. Ace King here. So limp, 12. 36 is okay. 36 is okay. Yeah. Okay, 2 calls. I prefer to raise a bit bigger, like 44, 46, but it's in this specific configuration, freaks is fine, especially at this SPO. Okay. No, bets is really bad. Again, don't bluff on the flop. Multi-way. 3-bet pot, 4-bet pot, 3-way. Just single raise pot. Don't bluff. Like, just forget bets when you don't have nuts. You don't have good end. And again, nobody will know what you're doing. Anyway, so I'll just bet just my stronger region, but I don't have enough for equity. And the other reason is most ends that are going to fall on the flop, they're going to check for the turn anyway. Because most people are too passive post flop, so it's not good. It's quite bad actually. Okay. Check. I mean, it's not bad. Like, the EV difference in this spot is not that high. Like, it's not even that bad. But if you start betting with this end on the flop, and this spot is good, you will take spots those are not good at all. So in order to avoid this situation, you want to only check here. You want to check all the time. Okay, that's a good check on the turn. And good fold? Yeah, good fold. Like, and it's played really well. Just pre-flop you can do a bit bigger and well check on the turn. But on the flop it's not a bet. I think it's really close, but it's still not a bet. And you prefer to delay. And the reverse just doesn't have enough bluffs, so I'm not considered calling. A lot of people, like some of them, are never value betting for this size, but without knowing it, not good. Classic 8 max, you find big open size. I know. I think it's a change or like bugs, but like classic 8 max doesn't work. Unfortunately. But yeah, I had this before. I don't know why. Okay, great. So that's it for the end review. How long? did I start this? 50 minutes. Okay. So just to quickly talk about the Monterey. It's going to be released in a few weeks. It's a mix of a lot of things, but we'll like few coaches and we'll help you like improve your game. I can't say the detail right now. I really want to finish it. So yeah, just wait and you can start being on the waiting list and post your dates if you want to be in it. As I said before, we are business, so I'm not gonna say, oh, there's only 2 people who can join and after take 100 people. Just at the beginning, we can only take a few amounts of people. So if you want to be the first select, just fulfill the time for in the description. It's for live. It's only for live players. So if you play online and you want to transition to online live, you can. If you want to be stacked, you can. Like it's not the main goal, but there is stacking. But if you want to improve online, it's not for you. Like you will learn a lot of things, but it's way better to wait if I do something online, for example. Yeah. If you play like fully online and you only want to play online, I will not advise it. Yeah. Can you explain the fall on the river? Well, yeah, it's super easy. He raised pre-flop a limp. He called a re-raise and he called on the flop. So he has king jack suited, ace queen, ace 10 suited, maybe book at tens, and he just has not enough bluffs. Like he has 2 king queen suited, and that's all. Like he just doesn't have enough bluffs in average. How much variance do you think live poker have? Do you think you can lose? No, I cannot lose in 1 month. To be honest, I think it's not possible. Like I played 5-10 in extra Provence, and I could because I had massive swing, but I won. I won like 19k or something, and I was up like 35. I downswing like 14k. It was 5-10, but it was not really 5-10. Like everybody had 10k on the table with two whales. It was amazing. But apart from that, if you play strong and you learn how to play strong, solid live games, you can't lose in 1 month. I think you can't even lose in 2 weeks. Like it can happen, obviously. It will happen sometimes for sure. But most of the time, you're not going to win. You're not going to lose. Obviously, depends about the table selection, depends about the reg, like, depends about a lot of things. Yeah, but the reasoning here is, if he has a bluffs, he has also values. So you're going to win small amount. And if he's only bluffing, you lose everything. I mean, if he's only value betting, you lose everything. Are you mostly play live these games? I still play both. It's important for me to still improve online, but I want to improve live games. Like my goal is just to be the live game and boss, like just playing with the most amount of money at the table. Sure. By the way, I played Brian Kim in Asia, and now he's in the main events. It's quite cool. Yeah, hope you like it. Again, the type form is in the description. If you have any question, we'll get back to you shortly anyway. And see you probably tomorrow. So, yeah, see you. Bye, guys.